is your girl Vanna. You are now tuning in to the Hood Talks podcast, where community voice matters. Alive! Yo, welcome to another episode of the Hood Talks podcast. This is the last show of July. We creeping into August, but this topic right here, look, I had to do a dance to this because I got another great all Black men panel. We talking all about how Black men mentors matter. I'm excited because I think this conversation is not had enough. Okay, so, but that's okay because the Hood Talks podcast is bringing it to you. And we're going to have it, and we're going to have a great conversation with a great panel. So I am going to give it a minute, let people kind of gather a little bit, and then I'll let the guests introduce themselves. But while people are gathering, I do kind of want to talk about how we do every time we do a live show. We do a t-shirt giveaway. So how do you do that? How do you get in the drawing? Please share this live, and you're going to comment in the comment section, Black Men Mentors Matter. That's what you're going to do. You got to share this live, Black Men Mentors Matter, in the comments, and make sure you're following us on our social media, okay? That's how you're going to get in the drawing. Now that that's out the way, I'm going to let these great people, hold on, y'all. Let me switch up my screen for a minute. There we go. I'm like, wait, why is it all on one? There we go. I want to see all my peoples, all my folks. I am going to go ahead and let y'all introduce yourselves. Now, this is different because usually I have a little bit of women and I be like, let's let the women go first. So I am just going to go with who I see at the top of my screen. And I see you, Mr. Albert. So if you could please go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, and then we'll go Albert, Julius, and then Mr. Marcel. Go ahead.
Hey, good people out there. Welcome. Oh, not welcome. I'm not doing that. Hey, I'm Albert Sanders, and I'm a pre-K teacher in St. Louis Public Schools. I think this is my 23rd year, and I'm in the field of early childhood. I love early childhood. I'm also a vice chair of the Alliance, which is going to look at the equity across the St. Louis area for pre-K. I do a lot of different stuff, but it's all about for the kids and the family to make sure it's right. You also can catch me at 11:30 Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday on 9 PBS for a little teaching, a little fun summer camp this summer. But that's a quick introduction. And I guess Julius.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here this morning. And good morning to all my believers out there too. I know I have a lot of believers that are joining me this morning. My name is Julius B. Anthony, president and founder of St. Louis Black Authors of Children's Literature and the Believe Project. So our mission essentially is to ensure that all children are confident and competent readers by the end of third grade. And we do that by strategically bringing together music, art, and using culturally responsive literature to make sure that particularly Black children are successful readers by the end of third grade, because we're looking at 70 to 75% of Black third graders not being successful in our region. And we want all children to be successful readers because that determines whether they'll have a successful adult life. So that's what we do. We build these literacy labs throughout our region. We're up to number 5, and we're hoping to open number 6 and 7 this fall and number 8 in the spring. And hopefully we'll get a chance to tell you more about that in our conversation today. Glad to be here.
Thank you very
much. Good afternoon, since it is officially 12:08, so afternoon. My name is Marcel Hagens. My background is in policy research. I'm currently an NLF fellow. So shout out to us, class of.
Yes, shout out to NLF. We always gotta represent.
Currently, we are working on a policy opportunity to help assist in developing community organizations in the communities or neighborhoods that don't have any, as well as placing those community organizations in positions to where they can acquire properties in their neighborhoods to essentially buy back the block. So also working with an attorney from Legal Services of Eastern Missouri to get some stuff off the ground with him to help develop affordable housing in these same neighborhoods. So we're trying to take a two-pronged approach to give our community organizations power in their neighborhoods. So that is a little bit about me. Good afternoon.
All right, y'all. All right. They have introduced themselves. I'm sure y'all know a lot of them, all of them, because all of them are some gems in the community and they out here doing the work. So let's get into this conversation because that's what we're here for, right, y'all? Let's talk about Black men mentors and just that phrase alone and how it can be impactful to our community. Now y'all know how I roll. Look, whoever want to start, go ahead. We finna conversate. That's how we roll over here. We conversate. So, how can Black men mentors be beneficial to us in our community? Y'all gonna sit here and be quiet. All this experience on the screen, gonna sit here and be quiet.
I'll start. I'll start by saying this. I was fortunate as a kid and as a young person to be in a family surrounded by a lot of men. I was fortunate to have a great dad. Let me say that, and great brothers. I was at the end of the line. I grew up with 6 brothers and only had one brother under me. So I grew up with a lot of older brothers who mentored me. And then I was part of a really, really strong faith community that had a lot of fathers in that community. And every dad in that community was my dad, and they mentored me. And so I was fortunate with that. And in that community, we had this organization called the Layman's Group. And the men in that group mentored the younger men, and we had to show up on Saturdays, and they did things with the young men in that, in our church and faith community. So I was fortunate in that way. What I wasn't fortunate with is having males in the school system. And so I went through my entire educational pursuit from kindergarten through 12th grade, from preschool through 12th grade, without having any male teachers. One white male science teacher, I think in the 6th grade, but he wasn't my core teacher. And one Black male principal in elementary school, but he was the assistant principal.
That is a very a great valid point, because I think that's what I feel like too now. And well, shout out to you, Mr. Albert. Come on in on this conversation because you are a teacher, and how I feel like that is very important, that we do need more Black men in the education field. Like we really literally kids need to see Black men being teachers also. So come on, Mr. Albert.
I better unmute myself so I can talk. No, I do definitely agree with that. And being a pre-K teacher, sometimes mentors are not, you just become a mentor, you don't even know it. So it's important to make sure you're doing the right thing, you're doing the right stuff, because people are looking up to you without you even knowing it. I think what Julius was saying, I had a male gym teacher, and then in 7th grade, I had Mr. Williams. He was he was a male teacher. And then in high school, I don't remember, I had a male coach, had a male football coach. Right. But and I had a couple other males in high school. And I went out to Afton, so I didn't do my teaching. I didn't do my growing. I went out in I was in a DCA program. But when it comes to teachers, we need more male teachers. I think it's about 2% of male teachers, Black male teachers across the nation. And that percentage goes about the same or a little less in Missouri. And it's males just make a difference. And males make a difference. And then we have a positive male, because we have males all over the place. And even the guy on the corner can be a positive male. That we can't always say the males on the corner are not positive. We want our kids to see males everywhere, especially Black men everywhere, not just on the corner, not just as police officers, not just in the grocery store, you know, not just working on houses.
Right.
We want them to see everywhere, and that positivity be brought out, whatever they choose to do. And so just black men in general, I mean, black men in general, men in general, but black men in general have to show our kids, because you never know who you're looking up to. I mean, who's looking up to you, I should say.
Can I add something to that? Because and it's not just being a male teacher, it's the male presence. Because here's the fact of the matter. Children spend the majority of their day hours in a school setting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so it's about having a male spirit and a male presence in a space where children are. Mm-hmm. And what our culture has begun to create is sort of like this thinking that men aren't supposed to be there.
Woo! I'm sorry.
No, really. That is really only supposed to be a space for women. And that men aren't really supposed to be nurturers.
Say that.
As if men can't nurture children.
Come through. Come through. Come on, Marcel. We've had a conversation, so I know how you feel about this.
And so it's not just about
I'm calling you out.
Men aren't teachers. It's about there's no space for men in those places.
And we need them. And kids need them.
Yeah.
Little boys need them because they need to know that they can do it. And little girls need to know that they have someone to rely on to. Yes. So come on.
They just need that male energy.
Yes.
Go ahead, Marcel.
So a couple of things. I'm gonna take a step back. I was fortunate enough to have a 6th grade social studies teacher. His name was Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, God bless him dead. That man forever changed my life. Just because he was tough, he was stern, but he also gave you room to speak and express yourself. Now, he was quick to tell you get him 25 squat thrusts immediately. You get out of pocket, hit them squat thrusts. But to have him there was really big, because out of the rest of my teachers in that full school day, it was all women. After that, now Black women, beautiful, strong Black women, but women nonetheless. Now, as far as Black presence is concerned, I am a father to a 7-year-old girl. I love her to death. I love her to death. It's my buddy. She would be sitting right next to me, but she with her mama right now. But I made it my mission when she was born, that she would never know a day that I wasn't present. I tell her anytime I separate from her, I ask her this one thing. It's like, I'm always come back to you, right? And she goes, yes. But I make it a point to let her know that as long as there's breath in my body, that I'm always going to be there. And the other part of that is I'm the oldest of, I would say, between both sets of parents, I'm the oldest of 5. And I make it my mission to let all of my siblings know that I'm present and I'm here. And if for no other reason, is because growing up, I didn't necessarily see that everywhere. And I was fortunate enough to get a stepfather later on in life that allowed me to be vulnerable, to cry, to be emotional, or live in those spaces or realms that they try to say is reserved for women. So me, it's a dual thing for me. Not only looking at my little brothers and saying, if you're upset, if you want to cry, cry.
Right.
But also showing my sisters and my daughter that you have someone stable here. And not necessarily in, I guess, the generic terms when we say stable, being like financially or anything to that effect, but literally someone that if you need a person to lean on, I'm that person. And I feel like at a point we lost that. So I'm trying to do what I can to bring that back.
I think that's I think that's a great point. I do want to kind of kind of get in on that, where you talked about how, you know, kind of like the roles of a woman and a man, and how we kind of like, women are supposed to be the only ones to nurture and take care of the kids and take care of the baby. And so then they become the superwoman and they're trying to do it all and they're stressed out and they're, I'm all by myself doing this by myself. And the men were like, well, I'm throwing your money, or I come pick them up and I put them down. Like, I'm out here trying to, you know, get the money. So I think we have to really talk about, like, when getting the men mentors, men having mentors where they can go, be able to express how they feel, talk to them, you know, talk to someone if they can't talk to, you know, a woman, but also learning from example that you don't have to just be the you know, this strong stereotype masculine, you know, person. Like, you can be emotional, you can be nurturing, you can be, you know, you can do all of these things. And I feel like that's where men mentors are going to come in at, like providing that space to say, you know, I know it's rough, I know it's tough, but here, come, let me help you and assist you. And, you know, you guys get what I'm kind of talking about? Well, am I just blabbling? But I'm trying, it makes sense in my head. I'm trying to get it to come out.
No, it makes it makes perfect sense, because a lot of the times you just want to you got it's somewhere for people to talk to. Like, if I have a concern, you know, I could call Julius up and just talk to him about something, and not, you know, he didn't sign a thing to say he's my mentor, but at the same time, it's somebody who you can come, you know, you had that trust to go and talk. I don't know Marcel. I didn't know Marcel before this, but I bet, you know, he's the same way. If I have a conversation, if I need to talk to somebody, you know, I can call him and talk to him. And that's how our young man, our youngest boys from pre-K on, they have to feel, men and girls, but the men have to be, they have to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna go talk to him. I know he's not gonna judge me. And as mentor, you have to take that in. No matter, you can't judge, you gotta listen, because I think a lot of times we're ready to solve problems before you actually listen to the problem. So you have to just listen to people, or listen to men and see what they're saying. Because sometimes they solve the problem themselves by the time they get finished with the conversation. And you say, oh, you just did that. And so as a mentor, again, like I said earlier, you might not have said, can you be my mentor? But you come to me all the time. So I know what this relationship is. And I have to accept that relationship and and be able to listen to them.
Yeah, I want to say two things about that. First, I want to just go back a little bit and use Albert as an example in terms of the power of the male presence in a school environment. Albert shared that he has a show on 9 Network. What he didn't share was that he has the highest rated hour.
Yes.
On that show. I don't think he's the only Black male, but he has the highest rated hour.
Yes.
Now, why do you think that's the case? He is a good teacher. Don't get me wrong. He's a great teacher.
He's reliable.
I think a lot of it is because he's a Black male.
That part. Honestly, though, that's a great valid point.
Yes. He's male and he's Black. And let me tell you, it's not only Black children tuning into his show.
No. No.
And there's a lot of, and I hope I'm not gonna get in no trouble, but this is the hood show, right?
It's the Hood Talks. We keep it real and raw.
There's a lot of women. There's a lot of women on that 9 Network Teaching Room 9 presentation. And let me tell you, 9 Network are my friends. I'm a partner. I'm not trying to lose my relationship.
Say I support y'all, but I'm just putting out some facts. It's a fact. Don't do it with. We keep it real.
A lot of women on that Teaching in Room 9. But Albert got the highest rated hour.
Yes.
Because
honestly, too, kids want to see different.
Yeah.
Kids want to see different. They do.
It's his energy.
He
has a male energy.
Yes.
And children are attracted to that in a different way. It's just a fact.
And if you think about it, if kids are not like, say for instance, they might not have the male presence at home. And so they're watching his show and they're like, wow, they're really like, oh, wow, there's a male and he's a teacher. And then it's inspiring. It looks more like, okay, well, it gives them hope. Like I could be that. Yeah. Or, oh, wow, I could get a male teacher and all of that. So
or they might have a male presence at home and they just attracted to that male presence at home. And, they're attracted to that same presence on TV.
Yeah.
Like every time I walk into the classroom, that my goal is for every child to want to come to school every day.
Ooh.
I want them. When I was in 2nd grade, I cried because we had a snow day. I cried like a little baby because we had a snow day because I wanted to be at school. But my goal is for everybody who come into my classroom to want to come to school every day. And I mean, over the years, I think I had one person who didn't, but I mean, regardless of the reason why, but that's my goal. The same way with the show. I want you to come back and watch every day.
I'm about to say, I'm an adult and I watch that show.
And that's my whole goal. My whole goal, I want you to watch every day. I do it because I feel like I do build a relationship. I get a little fan mail. I do get a little fan mail and they say, they call me their teacher online.
You better be famous. You better be famous.
But I do it because I love it. I mean, I do it, and I want you to build that relationship with you through the phone. I mean, through the screen. I want you to feel like I'm there for you.
I don't want to take anything away from Albert's skill set because he is skilled at it.
Very.
What I want to just elevate is his energy, his male energy. I just want to say that does matter. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. And I think that contributes to why he has a highly rated show. And I also think that if there is some research that's probably done, for instance, I think before COVID, the top teacher in the state of Missouri, early childhood teacher, was a Black male as well, wasn't it, Albert? It was like 2019 or 2018.
No, I think it was in the state of Georgia. I think state of Georgia had a Black male pre-K teacher.
But it was one in Missouri too.
I have to look at that. But on that note, like research, I'm sorry, Jill, but research shows that Black males or males in education across the board, from pre-K all the way up through high school, make a difference in everyone's lives. Not just black, not people.
Exactly.
Children cover all lives.
Yeah.
And that's why it's the big push to get more males, but more Black males into the classroom.
And that is a great point because I mean, all of you pointed out like having a special teacher, and Mr. Lewis, shout out to him and what he did at Jenny's. Everybody in Mama know Mr. Lewis, but I remember him. I remember distinctly his classroom. I remember distinctly his energy and all. So I do think that it does make a difference. And it does leave some type of spot on children's heart. And he was like my junior high teacher. So yeah.
And then to add to that, I'll take a time to shout out Dwayne James.
Yes, NLF.
Our NLF facilitator, but also my mentor.
Yeah.
And I want to, because we actually had a conversation last week, And it was so refreshing just to be able to speak to somebody that looked like me, that had similar experiences that I had, trying to come up in this space of policy, community engagement, and things of that nature. Because up to this point, I hadn't had. Not only did I not have a mentor, so I was flying through this blindly, but a lot of the people that I worked with and collaborated with up to that point were white women.
Mm.
And it's like, I'm a policy nerd. I used to watch C-SPAN as a kid. And I didn't know anybody around me who was interested in that. Now, don't get me wrong, I played sports too. But when I was ready to have a conversation back, like say back in 2016, 2017, about an updated tax bill, people looking at me like, but so to have someone that I could talk to just kind of about what I'm feeling, the journey that I'm, embarking on currently, that did loads for my confidence, and just put me in a space where I felt like I could do this. And I hadn't had anything like that before. And it also made me think about the other times where I kind of needed that kind of presence and that push just for somebody that looked like me and could understand. Now, the other half of that is something that I try to do with everyone around me, everyone in my sphere, is to let them know that, hey, you have a range of emotions and it's okay to cycle through those emotions. You don't like, usually as men, and I mean, that's I guess another conversation that we can get to in a minute. Even like some of our mothers are like, you a man, you need to man up. Or are all the men around you not being able to always being taught to kind of compartmentalize and hold, stuff their feelings deep down inside of themselves. First off, naturally, that's just not a person that I am. I can't do that. But with that being said, I try to make it a point to talk to everybody around me and say, it's okay. If you are just blah today, be blah. But know tomorrow you can feel better tomorrow. If you're angry, it's okay to be angry. You can go through those emotions. It's okay to deal with those things. And if you ever have any questions or anything that you want to talk about or process through, I'm here for you. Because when I was cycling through those emotions, I was getting looked at like a goofy. Like, what? Men don't act like that. Oh, well, I'm a male. When everybody looks at me, at least I'm a man.
That's a great. I mean, I just want to keep diving in on that though, because I think that is important too. I think that's kind of why we have a lot of men who are going around or walking around who's emotionless. Like they don't know how to express emotions at all, none of it, or they're off the top, like they're extreme angry, because like they don't feel like they have and then that's another part, is like they don't feel like they have anybody to confide in. Like, those stereotypes where people are like, oh, I don't trust these dudes, I don't hang with nobody, ain't nobody gonna tell me, like, how can we get that, like, stop this mentality? Because people have been telling them, like, I know people's got trauma, people been hurt, people done stuff to people, and things like that. And I also know that, people are like trying to shelter themselves. But how can we provide a space for people to be like, which I think mentoring is one, people can like feel like themselves, they can get those emotions out, they can learn how to properly express themselves, and how it's normal to express yourself, and be able to get out of that hurt in them feelings and them emotions, like processing it. Because like you said, you're here, I can help you try to process it by just listening to you, and then you got to know too that you don't have to sit in it. But people don't even feel like they have that safe space to be able to process it. So that's where I feel like mentoring definitely needs to come in for especially Black men right now.
And what you just said, like us three, like, but that's what we need to be talking to the man, just again, the man on the corner or the man at the barbershop, where the barbershop usually listens. But it's okay. Sometimes you have to listen, and don't call that dude a punk because he's coming to talk to you about stuff. Don't and that's a lot of times that happens. They call you scared to talk to somebody because they think you're they're weak, and and then you do blow up. Like, you usually hold stuff in, and then when it finally comes out, it could be at your wife, your spouse, it could be at your partner, it could be at your kids. It comes out angrily because you've been holding stuff in. Whereas if you had let that loose with somebody, or be able to let that loose, because you're not, your wife or you're supposed to have somebody who you can talk to all the time. That doesn't always matter. That doesn't always help. You need somebody else besides the person that's you with all the time.
I agree. You need an outside source, which if it ain't, because y'all look, let me get on my spiel. I don't want to blame me, I'm attacking him, but if it ain't gonna be a therapist, let's get you a proper mentor or some type of proper healthy support, because it has to be healthy. And your homeboy ain't always healthy. So we need something.
And I was gonna say that not only that, but I try to tell people, and I even tell my friends this. I'm like, your significant other is not your therapist.
No.
Like,
come on.
Your significant other is not your therapist. Yes, you want to have conversations and let your significant other in, but you have to also understand that this person is living life with you. Like, they're living life with you, and they have their own set of things that they need to deal with, and sometimes it has to do with you, and vice versa. So it's like, yeah. So I try to tell my friends, I'm like, dude, like, my therapist did wonders for me, because not only did it give me an unbiased person to kind of speak to about whatever I was feeling, but this person is trained to help you develop processes to get through these things. And usually and I'll say for personal experience, the dangers of, having these conversations, with your significant other, although it gives you, clarity in your relationship, sometimes you're defensive. So when your significant other is like, hey, sometimes how you talk to me, I don't always like it. Sometimes you're not always there to be like, you just get personal and defensive. It's like, I'll be talking to you. And then that turned into something else.
Yes. And it blows up, and then you're arguing and you're fighting, and you're like, what happened? So, yes.
Yep. And then also, I'd say the other part of that is, and I think as far as relationships are concerned, I talk to my friends. My best friends, I've known them for 20 plus years at this point. But at the same time, you get into that situation where you don't want to tell your family all your business, because you and your girl may be going through something at one point, and then when y'all cool again, your family's still looking at you with side. because of something that you told them.
Yes.
And so it's like your friends and your significant others. Yes, it's fine to be that your person, your confidant, or whatever, but they are not your therapist. So having that tertiary or that outside person that you can talk to kind of help you and assist you in your processes, like, that's not nothing to be ashamed of. It's not something to hide behind or be secretive about. I tell people all the time, I got a therapist. I
really think, and we need to normalize that in our community. Point blank, period. I think we need to normalize. But if you're not ready for that, let's normalize mentorship. But let's also, I want to get into this lane a little bit, is how do we give access to mentors for people? Because I kind of get what you're saying when you said, Albert, that, sometimes you get up under someone's wing and y'all haven't like simply said, hey, I'm your mentor today. But how can we provide that to someone who's like, I want a mentor. I want to be mentored. I don't know where to go to do all that, or I don't know who to talk to. I don't know who want to be my mentor. So, how can we provide something for our community for people to tap into as a resource to get a mentor?
I mean, I know there's organizations, and I couldn't speak on any direct organizations, but I know there's organizations out there. I mean, the 100 Black Men of St. Louis, I think we have, that's an organization that probably can reach out. I mean, reaching out to the different fraternities and stuff. I mean, so I don't know any specific organizations, but there are organizations that are out there that are actually doing that. And then sometimes, going to your, like the schools can tell you about mentor organizations, or high schools can tell you about different mentor organizations, or reaching out to Julius because he has a wealth of knowledge of different things that's going on. But so it's our goal is to lift up those organizations. Like if somebody has one on Facebook or something, we need to follow them. It's a Black
Please. Contact the Hood Talks podcast so we can get y'all on this show so we can get that information out there. Because you're right. There probably is an organization right now in the St. Louis community that is doing this work, but we don't know about it.
Right. I want to share some of them. But I also want to say that your gender does not trump your humanity. So when we're talking about all these things around, looking at people through their gender and what we may think is effeminate and not effeminate, it's about your humanity at the end of the day, period. So that's my part of that last conversation. Look at a person as a human and not by their gender. But you have several organizations that do mentorship, professional mentorship. So you have Dr. Howard Fields and Dr. Daryl Diggs. They have the Black Male Educators of St. Louis. It's a mentorship organization for male educators, but they really work with all educators. As Albert said, the 100 Black Men of St. Louis, you have Man Up. They work with all males throughout St. Louis, regardless of your age group. They're really good. Save Your Sons under the Urban League, they do mentorship. You got Gentlemen of Vision, they do mentorship. There's a whole lot of them around. You got St. Paul Saturday, they're still around. They do mentorship. So there's a lot of them out there. And your local churches still do mentorship. Go down to the corner because there's a church on every corner. All of them doing mentorship.
That was my next thing, like the church. You can go to the church, you can find your mentor.
Yeah, you got Matthews Dickey, they do mentorship. You got, what's the other boys club? Herbert Hoover, they still doing mentorship. It's all around. But here's the other thing. And shout out to Dwayne, because Dwayne mentorship me as well. So shout out to Dwayne. Yeah. Because I had lunch with him. He was one of the first people that spoke to me about how to do my own thing.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but right? Yeah. It's it's YEP. Don't shoot me, Dwayne. He should have been here. No, he should have been here. He was
Dwayne is dope. And I went to him because he was the only Black council person in Ferguson.
Yep.
And I wanted to know, how did he exist as such a person when I wanted to get out and do my own thing? And he had a conversation with me. And that's what I want to talk about now, is our responsibility, those of us who are Black males out there in whatever profession that you're in. We have a responsibility to mentor other Black men. We don't have to follow them every day. We don't have to call them all the time. But we have a responsibility to be kind and to just check up on each other and say, hey, what you need?
Because I think there's probably not enough of that. Go ahead.
Well, two things. I also wanted to shout out Joshua Johnson. He has this program that he does, Black Fathers, called Dope Dance. So shout out to him. But also as well, I was going to say just simply, because I feel like just as people, we do a lot of things in our own silos. So just making yourself available, putting yourself out there. It's actually something lately that I've been trying to work on, just making myself available. Anytime somebody want to have a conversation, if you just got a question, if you saw something that I said or did that's interesting to you, just hit my line. Send me a message, shoot me a message. Just being available and open. Because a lot of times, because I would say just for Black people, in general, this world ain't easy. And we try to, a lot of times get into our space where we're comfortable and try to protect that at all costs. Like
Yeah.
this is my thing, so I'm gonna hold on to my thing, make sure I don't lose my thing.
I think you're for me, I know I ain't a black man and all of that, but I just think when you're talking about being open, a lot you get the not even the rejection, but sometimes the judgment. Because go back to what you said, like people don't look at you for being like just human. They want to point out your flaws and what you should look like or what you should be doing, how you should sound. So then that's when people again shy away, who could be really valuable to other people. They shy away from it because the judgment. And that's what I feel like we need to work on in our community is the stop being so quick to cut off and judge.
You're right. And it's some crazies out there. Let's admit it. Everybody can't be a mentor. And you got to recognize crazy mentorship. And if they come towards you, walk away. I mean, let's just admit it.
Yes, come on,
have the right kind of advice. And
yes.
if it's crazy advice, call it what it is and keep on stepping.
Yes.
Because there's some crazy stuff out there. I mean, so let's not perpetuate that everybody that come to you with some advice is going to be good advice.
Because shout out to the comments and shout out to Alan. He just said right now the streets are mentoring a lot of our sons and our youth and our children. And that's true. Yeah. Where are they? Not even just the streets. YouTube. Yeah. YouTube and media is mentoring these kids right now.
And all good.
Nicki Minaj, look, here we go. Nicki Minaj, and, what's these little boys? I can't even think of the group, the look. Oh God, I can't even think of all the names of the rappers.
Yeah, whoever said that, they right.
Yeah, that's where they're getting all their information, and then we don't give kids we don't give them like they know, like we think, oh y'all kids, y'all don't know nothing, or y'all children, y'all ain't experiencing nothing. I'm a grown up, I know. No, kids are real out here. They having some emotions just like we are with this pandemic. They're having emotions dealing with each other in school, and they have a lot of stuff that they're trying to, maneuver around. And we can't just keep shutting them off and saying you're a kid, you're a child, stay in that child's place. That's not healthy. It's not. Yeah. So we have to change our mental and around how we're, being, I guess, not only parents, but a community. Yeah. And not always going to whoopings, because that ain't always working either. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think Marcel, and I agree, because it's not, we have to change what we think about things. But Marcel was saying something about we have to be, I think it was Marcel said about opening yourself up to being a mentor. And sometimes you don't even know, like yesterday I was at Schnucks. I saw a former student, he was there, getting whatever he's getting, but we had a quick conversation, but I didn't say, reach out to me. He didn't look like he needed something, but reach out to me if you want to talk. Just that small thing, because him or his little brother might just want to have a conversation about going into the education field, about doing what you're doing, So, and I just hearing that actually makes me think, okay, you have to, reach out and just say, hey, look me up on Facebook when you want to talk, if you need anything. And that's just that small thing. If you need anything, just look me up. And, that way you start to build those relationships, or they'll look out and say, oh, I could call Mr. Sanders, and bam. So now I have somebody who I'm talking to. So I guess as men, as we have to, don't give your card out to everybody on the street, but at the same time,
be
open up and say, hey, reach out if you need anything, help me out. Because it could just be a hi, I need somebody to talk to at this moment. You could say, you could save their life because they're doing something, they're about to do something. Oh, I can call Dr. Sanders before I do this. And it's just, we have to be able to say that, and people got to know they have somebody else to talk to that they don't always talk to. Somebody else that's way far removed, but real close. We have to put that out there.
And have one person to go to. Don't drain one source.
Right.
Have 3 or 4 folks, because you can drain a person.
You can energy, yes, you can. You can. But I was just gonna say too, that's important what Albert was saying, because a lot of the rates of suicide is really high right now amongst Black men. Not even just Black men, but Black children. So right, really having people to feel like they can go and say, even if you don't know how to help them, listen to them, and maybe you can say, hey, I don't really know what to do, but let me help you find someone who can help you. And that sometimes is just helping someone navigate, what they're going through by just saying, here, I can't help here, but I know someone that does, or someone who can. And that goes a long way, because some people just probably don't know how to get help. And you could be that source to help them, guide them to what the help they need.
Yeah, and just tacking on to that, the other part of it for me is, I would say, be careful of people that are looking to mentor you with their own agendas in mind. Because a lot of times you get into a situation, you think somebody is really trying to help you, when in reality they're using you to say, look, I'm helping somebody. Look at this downtrodden kid.
Clout chasing. Yes, that's a good one, because people do that. People will get close to you just before they got motives, and so that's the scary part too, I guess, for people who are looking for mentors. So that's why I was like, how do we get like a resource? Which I know you said there's a lot of organizations, which again, y'all, if y'all is these organizations, please come holler at me, because we need people to get to these places that are safe spaces, because that's another one, right? Like you're talking about, we need safe spaces. We need safe spaces for our community. And right now, people feel like they don't have that safe space, because like you said, they feel like he out to get me, he trying to do something, or they trying to do something to me. People are scared with for putting their children in programs now because of pedophiles and all stuff that's going out, and just all of that. So people are really shying away from programs and stuff like that because of these horrible things that have happened. But it's like, we really need to create safe spaces and let people know that these are really great resources that you can tap into for your children, and for yourself as an adult. Because I'm like, I love having people that I can, talk to, especially when I'm trying to navigate through something. I just don't know how to do it. And I'm like, or I'm having a rough day, motherhood. Look, I'll be tapping to some mom friends real quick, like, girl, I struggle today. Like, but I feel like men need that too. Like, hey, I struggle today. Can you give me some resources, or just listen to me, bro? Thanks for listening, because you understand, you can relate. And I feel like no one can relate to you better than people that are similar to you.
I just thought of another one. Kids, I think it's Kids Biz, Ariel.
Oh yeah, the entrepreneurship.
She would be really mad at me if I didn't say hers. Right, the entrepreneurship program for young kids.
Yeah,
hers is really good. All of these are safe places for kids to be, and they vet you before you bring your kids to them. So she has a great program too. So, and they look for kids to participate.
Shout out to all of these programs that you guys have mentioned. I'm glad to hear them, because again, I think we have some great organizations. We just don't know about it.
No,
yeah, we just don't know. And so trying to get those resources and those connecting it to the people, because I'm sure.
And I know it's hard right now too with COVID. And it looks like we're about to go back to another shutdown.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I know. My people, get vaccinated. Get vaccinated.
Get educated. That's what I want. Get educated. I'm never going to push anything on anybody, but let's get educated. Know what you're up against. Don't just be going off of false information and false stuff. Know what you're really up against, and just do your research, on your own. That's important, because people are going off of all type of things, and that's why it's like, again, that's we can talk that. Shout out to you for that one, huh?
And really quick, Savannah, I actually want to shout out to you, because I think another aspect of this is setting up these conversations, having these talks, asking the questions, like just putting things out into the ethos, because it's interesting because shout out to one of our other facilitators, Claire. We were talking about funding, and she was like, the money is out there. All we have to do is start putting, our goals and our dreams and our things into the ethos, and everything else will follow. But I also feel the same way about this. Putting these conversations out into the space, challenging people to have those conversations about what we need and how we can provide those things. And after that, the ball can start to roll. Putting people into these spaces and these positions saying, hey, I'm willing to talk. Hey, I'm willing to listen. Hey, here's an opportunity. Hey, here's an organization. I think a lot of times we do a lot of criticizing about how we don't have those spaces and we're not doing this and we're not doing that. And there aren't any solutions being added to the conversation. We have a lot of complainers, very few solution-oriented and solution-minded people. So starting to say, hey, guys, I'm hurt. I'm crying. I'm a Black man in need. Help me. And someone else saying, hey, how can we help that Black man? That's how we start. So that's why I want to say shout out to you for asking that question, because too many people, instead of asking the question, are saying, look at him. He's not amounting to nothing. He's not doing nothing. Well, if you would look at him and say, hey, so I see you are struggling or something's going on. What's the problem? You'll find out a wealth of things about that kid that you wouldn't even know about.
Yes.
But instead of castigating that man, ask that man, what's going on?
Yes.
Because you never know. Just your words can help change. Yeah, like you never know. Just your kind words could change that man's whole life. You just don't know. So instead of castigating them, help them. See how you can be a conduit for that change, if that's what you really want. Instead of criticizing and saying, and then when that man come to you talking about man up, that's an oxymoron. How can you talk about men are not opening up, and then when a man come open up, say to him, man up? You ain't supposed to be emotional. Yeah. Like that don't even make sense.
That is real, real. And I mean, I think about that a lot when I talk about our community and our people. I love to say that I feel like we need to heal because we have taken on a lot of negative stereotypes and we're like holding on to these and like we proud about it. And I'm like, this is not healthy. This ain't healthy to be this way. And it's like, and then when you're like, let's heal or let's get better, people looking at you like, what you talking about? No, this is not healthy. We're dying at younger ages. We're dying off. Or if we're not dying off because of stress or because of unhealthy items that we're putting in our bodies, we're killing ourselves because our mental health ain't together. And nobody's saying, hey, it's okay to go see a therapist. We want to say, no, don't go see no therapist. What you want to do that for? Or no, here, go smoke this. You'll be all right. No, that's not healthy. These are not healthy habits. So I definitely am with, like, we have to stop giving people, what is it? Like small things to like fan them off and really feed them real medicine. And medicine comes from real mental health is the first one. Let's see what is wrong, what's here. How can we help you here? And once you get this together, everything else is going to fall into place. And I'm saying this from a place of I ain't perfect. I'm not perfect. I am learning and I'm trying to be better. But I also want you all, my people, to be better. So that's why, right, these conversations are needed. I'm right. We don't need to be saying, I got it. I'm doing it better than you and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm learning just like you. Here's my hand, brother, sister. How can I help you? Just like when I need help, can you help me and not judge me? And that's that alone. I feel like we can go a long way if we just get that compassion back for people, like for each other. Like, can we just love each other again? Some sense. And no, I mean, look, don't get into my skill, y'all. I'm sorry, but it's real. It's real. It is really real that we've put so much hate out here. But I know it's also conditions that we've been in, and it's systems that have been set up this way. I know all of that, but I still feel like we have to hold ourselves accountable and saying, what am I doing today to help my community and help my people move forward? And Shout out to you. Thank you, Marcel, for that.
Hey, that's so real. It's just real. And one thing when you said just being a normal person, like Julius say, he read my little bio. Like I don't read my bio. Well, I say here, and I don't share it. And I don't know if I just don't share it because to me, people say you're amazing. I say I'm a teacher.
Yes. I
teach because I want people to be able to say, okay, I'd rather you all talk about it than me, but I know I got to get better at that because I do have some stuff that I need to share so people know I have background to help them be a mentor or just to help them in different things. But so that's why I don't talk about it. I'll say it. I'm a doctor. I got my doctorate. I said Mr. Sanders like 7 times on this conversation. Even though on room 9 I say Dr. Sanders all the time, but it's just that you
want to be relatable too.
Right? I want to feel normal. Yeah. I want to feel normal. Like we can have a conversation. I'm not better than you. I'm walking this with you because I'm continuing to learn. And once I stop learning, more than like I'll be dead. That's my standpoint. Once I stop learning, then I'll be dead. And the other thing I want to get back to Julius. It was a black male teacher of the year, state teacher of the year. He was a PE teacher though. Okay. DC Cockrell out of Lindbergh. He was the PE teacher, but he was a state teacher of the year and was a black. And he has a story. I mean, it's out there too. He has a story that because he grew up in the city. He has a story behind it. But yeah, that was a state teacher of the year. I wanted to get back to that. I remember right after I said that, but yes.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But
I'm not gonna give Albert some therapy on Facebook this morning. But he needs to embrace all that goodness that the Spirit has endowed him with. Embrace, Albert, embrace.
And that's why I say you're a mentor for me when I don't even know it.
You don't even know it.
Normalize all that goodness the universe has brought to you. Yes. It's important that you embrace it. Let it shine.
And you know what? That's a good point.
Yeah. So
I think not enough black men do that either. They don't want the spotlight. But y'all need the spotlight. I'm trying to put y'all out there. Y'all need the spotlight. Just as much as black girl magic, and black girls winning. I'm all for that too. I love my women out here. Black women get it. But black men need the spotlight too.
Yes.
Y'all do.
Shine. Shine.
If he ain't heard it nowhere else, he heard it today. The Hood Talk.
Hey, I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
I tell him that every time I talk to him.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I do. Part of the reason I'm getting better because of the conversations I had with Julie.
Yeah.
Yes. And here in our conversations where I was going to pick up some books to read on room 9, and that's all I was doing. It was during COVID. I was just picking up books just to read of some amazing black authors in St. Louis, and we just had a conversation. I mean, we sat there and talked for what's supposed to be like 30 seconds for about a half an hour about us, about being more, embracing my. Yes.
A safe space. And I just want to highlight, you all are supporting each other.
Yeah.
Y'all support, and that's okay too. Like, heavily back then, like I've seen, I feel like there used to be okay to be a brotherly bond between black men, and getting together, hanging out and doing stuff. And that was normalized brotherhood. Like now, all you hear is, I don't trust, like even sometimes with my nephew, I'm like, I know COVID hit, and I'm like, he ain't even got no friends outside of, his stepbrother, but like, you ain't got no homeboys for real outside. And then the homeboys you do get, you be kind of like skeptical and scared because they into bad stuff. So it's like, you like, I want you to be able to have, a friend, but I also like, I'm scared because your friend ain't too great because he ain't got no mentor. So again, I don't know. I just feel like it should be a safe space for black men to feel like they can also connect with each other and support each other.
So I want to that. I'm gonna say this. I have no problem. I look at my best friend, my best friend, but more specifically my friend Mikey. I look at him I give him a hug. I be like, I love you. Like I get like I love you. I'm like no because no I just want you to know that I love you. I love
And that
you.
should be
I
okay.
look at like and for me I don't care if you think it's okay or not.
You're right.
So I'm,
I'm with you. I'm with you, but it should be okay now. It should be normalized. Okay.
that's
Good.
that is my friend, and that person has done a lot for me in this life. So I'm going to always let him know that he's appreciated. I don't like say what you want, but that's just me. Now going back to Albert talking about being normal, it was interesting because one time I was in undergrad and a gentleman was talking to me like in amazement that a black man was at St. Louis University. So and he's like, well, what do you say? Or how do you talk to the kid out there on the street that's doing blah, 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 blah? Or what makes you different from him and all of that? And my answer to him was nothing. um, nothing. Because literally, it was as simple as making a choice. Me and that dude was at the same fork in life. I decided to go left. He decided to go right.
Right.
For me, it's just that simple. Now I have to say I had people in my life that spoke life into me and said things like, "Hey, go to school. Hey, get this information." But also at the same time, I was out. I was out doing God knows what.
Right.
Um,
Because you are human, you were a kid, you was young. You do
so
things that you're not supposed to do.
right. So literally between me and that person is a choice.
Yeah.
That man is still my brother. We bleed the same. The only difference was one day I walked up and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get this school thing and try." That's it. That's it. He looked at me like, "No, da 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 da," and he's like, "No, but you're better than him." No, I'm not. Because when I step off this campus, the only way you know that I go to school is because you came in the Bush Student Center and saw me sitting here.
Right.
When
Right.
I walk down Grand, I go back on the west side where I live. Shout out to the West End, by the way. Um, when I go back over there, I look just like the rest of these people. So when the police pull up and they trying to search somebody, they gonna search me too.
Yeah.
Like so, there's literally no difference between me and that man except for the choices that I made, and we don't know what went into or what factored into him making the decisions that he
That
made.
he made. Right. We don't know his
So
experiences. We don't
right,
know. Right. We don't know what he was wanting or needed, and he had to do what he had to do. With sometimes you just don't know people's situation. And like you said, I'm no better than the next. I just made a different choice,
mm-hmm.
and my choice
Yep,
landed me here in this place, in my space. But that don't mean I'm better than you. That don't mean you better than me. That just means that we made different decisions and different choices. But hey, if you like the choice that I made and you want to make that choice, let me grab your hand and show you what I did so you can make a better choice. Now,
That's
if
what
you
a
want to stay
mentor
making
come
them
in.
choices you making, and I don't want no parts, don't be mad at me for not wanting any parts of your choices. Um, but hey, if
right,
you made a good choice, sis, how you do that? Or bro, how you do that? Show me, because I want to know. And that's what it's all about. I think. Because again, I do think even when we're talking about black men and mentoring, not only for boys but for girls, I think it's important. As someone whose father was like kind of in and out, I really like shout out again to Dwayne. I really did like having to be able to talk to, because sometimes you want a different perspective. You don't want to hear your girls, or you don't want to hear a woman's perspective. You want to hear a different perspective, or just different. And shout out to Dwayne, and like you said, he's been in that space and listening. Like I called him the other day about a situation and hearing his perspective, and I was like, okay, because the perspective I've had was also like, oh, it was me and the girl, it was the same. But his was like, okay, let's try this differently. Or even shout out to a situation with my kicking it for a cause crew. It was me and her was on the same page because we got the energy, but that man energy was like, nah, chill. So sometimes you need a different energy, and sometimes men energy is a lot more laid back than women. You know, we're a little more emotional, just a little more. Y'all can be emotional too, but we are just a little bit over it sometimes. So it was just great having that different energy around as a Black woman wanting to hear from a Black man. So even normalizing, I guess, the cross, Black men being in spaces where they can mentor and Black women, because we know right now, yeah, I think Black women or little girls need to also see, because we know right now what we're dealing with in our community, there's a lot of fatherless homes, right? And even little girls don't have father figures. And they're yearning for that in a sense. So how can mentors in that sense help? And shout out to you, Marcel, because you're raising a daughter. But I think you guys are important also in the eyes of girls. Let's hit on that a little bit.
The best place is get male teachers in schools. I mean, it's hard to develop mentor programs for males and little girls because of all of the societal stuff. So the best place for a male to have a presence with a female child or young person is in school. So we need more male teachers in school, in elementary and middle school.
And like you said earlier, not just male teachers, just male staff members.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes, you know, an assistant teacher is just important as a teacher. Or cafeteria worker, office staff, whatever.
I used to have fun in the office with the staffs. They were pretty much all women for the most part. But right, you being a counselors. Yeah. We need more counselors in the school. Black men should be counselors. I think that's a great one.
Yeah, but you say that, then they'll regulate us only to those positions. But you're right, any position in school.
Right.
But I want to be in the classroom.
Right, the classroom is the most. You get a lot more.
You say all them positions, you know, they'll give us the lowest ones, but that's okay. But us in them classrooms.
But you know, sometimes I read a story on Facebook where it was a guy. He started off as custodian. And he became the principal. Like years later, he became a principal. You know, and I'm sure you saw that story. But it's just like you start somewhere. When you see you really like this field, because when you're in a school, it's a big difference.
Absolutely,
it's such a difference when you're in working with the kids. Like the summer, don't get me wrong, I'm loving this summer. I'm not working. You know, I'm chilling, and I'm like, man, forget school. I don't want to start school. You know, we have 2 weeks of professional development before the kids start. I'm like, man. But that first day when them kids come in, I know I'll be all right. This is why I'm here. And so, you know, it's just important. You know, you get in males in education is so important, you know, for girls, guys, because like you said, it's a stigma. Like me being a pre-K teacher, you know, I have this, you know, it's, you know, and just to be front, you know, raw, like
raw, come on, bring it
raw. You know, it's either I'm gay. And nothing wrong with gay. Either I'm gay or I'm a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the way. I mean, that's what it is. You know, what you doing down there? You have to be doing something. You know, and it's that stigma. You know, it
is.
But I'm a teacher. You know, you get in my class, you're like, ooh, you know, and this is just from. And they're like, ooh, I teach. You know, but I have to keep that in the back of my mind. You know, if somebody has a restroom problem, what do I do? You know, I feel like I'm a teacher. I just like when I have my daughters, they got to use the restroom, they need help wiping. You know, that doesn't happen, but you know, I'm gonna take my daughter to the restroom and help her wipe. You know, but then I have to say, oh no, I gotta get a female to take them to the restroom because, and it shouldn't be because I'm an educator just like everyone else, just like that female. I'm an educator. Why do I have to get a female to take her? It's just, but I have always in the back of your mind, you know.
Yes, I agree. But I think that's again when I say when Marcel was like, we have to stop the stigmas of that men are only supposed to do this and they're not supposed to be nurturing and, you know, accessible to the kids to utilize when they need help, because women ain't always gonna be there. That's just real. So you should be comfortable enough, and the kids should be comfortable enough to say, hey, I need to go to the bathroom. Can you help me? Like you said, you're pre-K. They just learning how to potty train and stuff for the most part. Like, sit down, let's help. And you know how to wipe, because there is a specific way to wipe. So yes, you should know how to wipe. Right.
So, real quick, two things. First, personally, another thing that I like considered very early with my daughter is making her aware of me being flawed. And what I mean by that is sometimes I'm going to fail. Sometimes I'm not always 100%. Sometimes I'm not always on my A game. Sometimes I'm not happy. But letting her know that all of that is okay, and letting her know that none of that means that I love her any less. But also with that, letting her know that with you seeing my flaws within reason, of course, you seeing my flaws and me being human, that gives you room to be okay, understand your flaws, and use those as your superpowers. Because I am trying to do the same. I mean, I was clinically diagnosed in 2019 with bipolar 2, generalized anxiety, and depression. But that doesn't define me.
Right.
Now, with that being said, whatever is going on with you, my baby, whatever, those things are a part of your story. Those don't make you, those don't confine you, those don't limit you. That's just one part of you. That's one aspect that makes up an entirety of you. So trying to lead by example in that and being vulnerable in that space with her. So that's on the personal side. But the other aspect of it, we talk about the lack of men in all of these spaces, whether it be educational, therapeutic, or otherwise. I think part of that is because we don't place that same type of value on those things for men. We don't, because I mean, we get caught up in, especially with social media and how society picks and chooses gender roles. Men are supposed to be the provider and financially and all of this other ridiculous stuff. But we don't teach our young men that there is value in being an educator. That we don't teach them that there's value in being a person, that there's an importance to being able for someone having the ability to confide in you, to express themselves to you. We don't teach that there's value in that, especially for men. So when you look up and the dude is like, I want to rap, or I want to hoop, or I'm doing these things that are considered, or that we try to paint a picture of as manly, or the things that's going to get them the most money, or get them the most attraction, or whatever the case. We don't sit down and say, hey, you are shaping the minds of the future, and there's value in that. You are teaching people how to cope with stress, how to cope with anxiety, and there's value in that. And there's actually more value in that than whatever dollar figure you're making. You have the ability to change somebody's life daily, but we don't teach that value to not only just men but people in general. We talk about the tangible. We talk about the physical. We talk about the monetary value of a thing, or the value of the thing based on X, Y, and Z. Instead of looking at someone and saying, like, I can change your life because of this book, or these words, or the emotional vulnerability I'm letting you express. We don't foster that. We don't build that. We don't encourage that part of it. And I think we should start placing more value on those things. Looking at a kid and saying, look, you have a knack for teaching. You have a knack of instilling You sat your little brother down, you sat your little sister down. See how you were able to get them to understand this? That is valuable. That is actually irreplaceable. There's not many people who can do that.
Right.
But no, we look at that little boy and say, oh well, he shot up 6 inches. Maybe we can get him on a court hoop,
Right.
like, or put him out on that football field. And like maybe that's not what he's into.
Right.
So I guess at that point I'll step down.
That was just all good though.
Hey, Marcel, you need to be a counselor because you learning some value. You teaching us some valuable. You got some good hits.
Damn, I know.
But the other thing I was gonna say is I keep looking at that sign behind Julius is believe. You know, I know that his group, his organization is about believe that every child can read by third grade. That's the belief, and that's the truth. That's their goal. But it also plays a second point, and I'm sure this is part of it. You know, he just don't. That's the main thing. But we got to believe in all of our students, no matter what. And we got to believe that our students can make a difference. You know, so it's like it means something when you say you got to believe. And I think Marcel, you said it. It's something you have to believe in these students, no matter where they are, who they are, where they come from, and put that belief into students. Put that belief into the little boy who picking at your lock on your car. The person who walking down the street and look like they struggling, the person who's asking you for $1. I mean, and instead of saying, I always say no, but instead of saying no, what do you want this dollar for? Or we got to believe that they're gonna do something good. Oh, I need to buy me some food. How many of us believe that? None. We say, oh, you getting you some liquor. You getting you some,
true.
And we have to believe. They are doing the right thing, so we
believe in the hope, having the hope that, okay, look, I'm gonna give you this $1 and I hope that you're gonna go do right by. You know what I mean? And if they didn't, that's another thing. If they didn't do good by it, what is it? It ain't much of a loss to you, right? We are so selfish that we don't even want to plant little seeds into people and have hope that it manifests into something good for them. We'd rather say, nah, I'm good. I'm good over here. I'm gonna stay in my lane. Like, we aren't like ready to just give and hope that, hey, I'm gonna put myself out here. I'm gonna give you this $1 and I just hope that you do something good with it. But if you don't, I'm okay, because guess what? I'm not losing nothing and I gave.
Right. And the other part of that too, and this is kind of how I guess shifted my thinking on that part of it. As a grown person, to get to the point where they're coming up to you as a stranger. When we talk about pride, especially when you are older and you talk about, oh, I'm doing this, I'm paying my bills and blah, 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 you get this pride about you. So for a person to be standing out in the blazing sun, in the pouring down rain, looking at you, a stranger that knows that you're going to judge them, and steal is like, hey, can I get $1? Or, hey, let me get that change. Hey, can you get me something to eat? Whatever the case may be. Understand how much that really takes.
Oh, that's a good one. You know what I'm thinking too, though? I'm sorry, but not even if you don't want to give the $1, let's start giving resources. Mm-hmm. If you ain't got the $1 to give, say, hey, I can't help you, but hey, maybe this place can, or maybe that. So when I say people literally need to be aware of the resources in their community so they can help other people, that's real. Like, say, somebody come up to me now, I'm like, hey, I can't help you, but hey, here's this place, or maybe reach out to this person, maybe they can help you, or this organization, because again, there is a lot of them. So have those resources and know what's going on so you can be of help in that sense. Because I get it, things are happening right now, everybody's struggling and money tight and things is tight and people ain't got money to give, they probably ain't got that $1, but giving them like the time to just saying, I see you, because it takes a lot of pride to be like, I'm in need as an adult. It does take pride. So just, I see you, I hear you, I might can't help you, but here you go. Because that I can see that as someone who is one who really don't like asking for help and working on that. I do understand where you come from, Marcel, when you say like people being adults and the pride can get in the way of, and they're like, I'm literally putting that aside to say I need help. So the rejection, after that to be like, just know, and I ain't got it, but what can I give you? What can I give? And maybe it's a resource, maybe it's a connection, maybe it's something that you can give them, or maybe it's just a moment to listening to their story and hearing their struggle and be like, I apologize, I'm sorry you're going through that. I can't help you. But that's compassion and empathy that we ain't got no more in our society.
Yes, we do, because you have it.
Touche.
I'm gonna stop. As long as you got it, we got it.
Hey, you only take one, right? At least one.
Well, not all y'all
Marcel got it because Marcel said he got it.
Yes, he do. You got it, Mr. Julius. Look at you.
I don't care what y'all think.
Y'all, we got it. You right. We got it. We just have to normalize it.
There you go.
Yes.
Amen.
Normalize it and keep uplifting.
Amen.
That's real. That is on some real ish, y'all.
And I think like we were talking about mentorship programs or different resources. I think like the Hood Talks, you're out there talking. We need to make sure, like on your Facebook page, that you have a list of mentor, like especially after this conversation, if we compile a list of mentorship, opportunities, and put them on there, and people are listening or watching. I'm gonna reach out to the Hood Talk so we can have a space where it's there for people to actually be able to find a small snippet. It might not be the entire list, but a small snippet of what we have to offer. Because again, the list goes on. I agree. The list goes on and on.
I do. And that's exactly what I am trying to do. It's like, if you don't know, be like, go listen to the Hood Talks podcast. They got all the resources right there. And I just want to say, I am bringing on Mr. Trayvon. He was supposed to be on the show. He had a delay in his flight because he had some stuff that's going on. But I do want to get this young man on this show because he was really like, I want to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm glad. It looks like you are just getting off the plane. I'm glad you got to tune in, and I do want to give, because this is another space that I really want to get into, is the youth, the young, because again, having these conversations is what's up, but we also need to normalize this for our youth in the upcoming so that they can take it on and keep flourishing. So come on, sir. How you doing? Tell the people who you are if you can. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. No, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Trayvon Walker. I'm a senior at Hairstow. I'm majoring in elementary education. I've been there my entire collegiate career. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So very excited to be graduating and become a teacher because that's pretty exciting to me. So
we've been talking about you all morning. It's good to
when we say we need him, and I'm like, he is here
all morning. Yeah. I'm glad we waited. I was mad because I was like, it's time to get off this show. But now I'm glad we waited. Go
yes. No,
yeah.
But tell us, we've been talking about Black mentoring, Black men in mentorship. We've been talking about, Black men in education, how important that is. Just give us information about why you chose to go into the education field and what's your plan?
Yeah, so the reason I chose to become a teacher was I just really was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and what I would feel like I would enjoy doing. So I started off as a biology major, was planning to do pharmacy, but I didn't feel like I would enjoy that career. And I was just looking for something that I feel like I could really interface with the youth and do things that I would enjoy. So once I started to look into education, I got family members that have worked in education. And that's just something that I really became connected with because it's so, I probably could count on one or two fingers how many Black teachers that I've had. And I feel like that's so important. Especially when you go to a school that is predominantly white and things like that, the whole culture is just very different. So I think that when we start to hone in on these different inequities in education and things like that, I feel like things will start to improve for the better. I'm working in a school district in St. Louis now, and I can definitely see an impact that I'm leaving on these students who have never seen anybody that looks like me in their classroom. And I'm working as a teacher assistant now, so I was doing like small group instruction. So that's just a little bit, yeah.
Hey Trayvon, hey, you graduate next year. When I was
Yeah.
I went out to Athens School District, and when I graduated, I said, where am I needed most? You know, do the white kids out in Athens need me? Yeah, they need me, but where am I needed most? I'm needed in the city. But this is my cheap shout out. When you graduate, if you stand in St. Louis and you stand in St. Louis, you want to work in St. Louis Public, I guarantee you I can make some things happen that you can go at Adams Elementary. Especially as elementary. I mean, as long as, you know, if people leave, you can come over, work at Adams Elementary. We'll have a pre-K. I teach pre-K over at Adams. So we have a, you know, early. So, and look me up if you need anything this school year.
Look up Albert. Look up all of these.
If you need anything, just reach out, because I mean, Julius is all about elementary right now.
Marcel, shout out to all y'all.
So look us up. But we can.
You need to do a show on Black male teachers. That's what you need to do. A show on.
I would be excited to do it.
Yes. I got you, because I know time is ticking, and I definitely want to go ahead and get us started to close out. But I'm so happy you joined us. You know, I got you.
Yes,
because I know I appreciate this young man. He called, he was like, I want to do it. I got you. And I appreciate the love. We're going to close out, y'all, with any suggestions, any advice that you can send to anybody that wants to be a mentor, or anybody that wants a mentoree or to be a mentee. Like, provide that. And then also, if you guys want to provide where people can follow you, catch you, and all that good stuff, we'll go. Albert, go ahead, lead us on.
All right. First, you can just find me right now. The easiest way to find me is just on Facebook. I use my real name. So it's nothing. I think I'm on Twitter too. I think it's Twitter at Big Sanders 22 or something. But as a mentor, becoming a mentor, you have to, my thing is, be able to listen and open yourself up to becoming a mentor, and listen to people who are reaching out to you. So you can see where you can help them, or how you can help them, or who you can direct them to get help from. As a mentee, it's people out here, you know, don't feel you're ever too old or too young or too dumb or too smart to have somebody else looking out for you, or to have somebody else to talk to. You know, it's everybody. You could be the richest person in the world, you probably need somebody. You can be the poorest person, you probably need somebody. So it doesn't matter what state of mind or where you are, just have somebody. It's okay to talk to someone.
Yes. Mr. Julius, how can the people find you, and any advice you can give out here?
Absolutely. First, let me say thanks again for inviting me to this conversation. It was rich. Thank you to all the brothers that were on here and everything that you shared. Thank you, Siobhan, for providing this platform and giving us this opportunity to speak and to give this information. Thank you, Trayvon, for not giving up. You made this show what it is. What you just shared was everything we needed to hear and to close this show. For real, we've been talking about you the entire time.
Real talk.
You gave the best close in this show to that. And you don't even know that, but you did. But you can find me, like Albert said, I use my real name on Facebook and on LinkedIn, Julius B. Anthony. Our website is stlblackauthors.com. Email stlblackauthors@gmail.com. You can find me on any of those platforms. We also have a business page on Facebook, STL Black Authors of Children's Literature. And you can also research us or Google us on the Believe Project. Got lots of stuff out there like that. But the last thing I just want to say is that all of us have a responsibility to be a mentor. Expand your mind on what a mentor is. That's just encouraging each other and just making sure that we uplift each other and be there. We are all each brother's keeper. And so just be there for each other.
Yes, Miss Marcel, how can the people reach you, and any advice?
So I think I'm gonna start backwards with the advice. Um, you see a man hurting, hug that man. Um, don't be afraid to hug that man, love on him. And let me go back, person. Hug that person if they're hurting and they look like they're in need of some encouragement. Encourage them. It's kind of just that simple. If you want to start as far as I guess the mentoring in that space, just be willing. Um, if you may not think you have anything valuable to give, trust me, you do. You you are living. You are of the living. You are experiencing life. You are doing things. You have value. Uh, so just be willing and open to share. Uh, I will also like to throw out there as a gender neutral person, um, being willing to be open yourself, um, being open with yourself as your identity, being the best person you can be. Um, just being that is influential to other people. Standing in your truth, so that goes a long way as well. I'm still learning how to be a mentee, so talk to Dwayne. Dwayne may be able to be able to tell you what he thinks a mentee should be because I'm still learning. Um, and just like everyone else, my name Marcel Higgins on both Facebook and LinkedIn, and then also too I have a shameless plug. Uh, my NLF fellowship group. We have a policy opportunity. We're talking about community restoration and purchasing power. We actually have a town hall Saturday, July 31st, from 10 to 12 at Temple of Faith Church. That's at 2631 Kinlan. So if you want to share any grievances, if you want to talk about what you think your community needs, uh, what your community wants, if you have any questions about how to uh, address some of the problems that are going on in your community, bring all of that. We're looking for all of that information. All of it is valuable. Again, that is July 31st at Temple of Faith. I think I'll send you the flyer and give you a link to the event. So if you want to post that, you can go ahead and do that as well.
Please do.
So yeah, that's all I got for y'all today.
Well, thank you. And come on, Mr. Trayvon, tell us any advice you want to give and how people can reach out and support you.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with everything has been said. I guess just from my perspective, I would just say don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that sometimes in our community, it's kind of you're supposed to be hard, you're supposed to be tough, and you're not supposed to you know ever be in a way where you look like you're not showing your strength, or you don't want to seem weak. But I don't think that that's what mentorship is, and I think that everybody needs a mentor, and I think that if you have one, I have one or two, um, but I think that they've definitely lived my life. They know what I shouldn't have done, what I should do next. And it's always good to have somebody that can advise you and help you out on this thing called life. So that's what I would have. My Instagram is tm.walker. And then my Facebook is VON Space Walker. I already screenshotted this, so hopefully I'm gonna add all y'all on Facebook. Hopefully y'all don't decline my request, but I'm gonna add everyone on here, and I look forward to. I also have a LinkedIn. I'm trying to get more connected in the professional streets too. So Trayvon Walker on LinkedIn too. So thank you so much again, everybody, for uh, you for creating this platform. Like they said already, I think this is dope, and I think that it's one of a kind. And I think the name itself is just speaks volumes. The hood talk. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, shout out to you. So yeah, thank you everybody.
Well, thank you all again for being on the Hood Talks podcast. I appreciate it. I love love having these conversations and bringing these topics to the front because I know we need them. And I love also just shedding light on the differences of our community and how we can all still come together respectfully and have this dialogue. And I know someone asked about having those organizations that you guys mentioned on the podcast. I do a segment called the Hood Needs segment, where we actually interview and talk to organizations. I love grassroots and nonprofit organizations. I do businesses sometimes, just depends, because I ain't trying to sell the people nothing. I am trying to give and offer the people resources. So if you are or you know a great organization that is doing the work out here with the people, tell them to hit up the Hood Talks podcast, because we do have those interview segments and we do provide that out there. We have done a lot of them so far. I have more to come and share. People have been reaching out. I do also ask that you all give me grace, because I just launched this in December. I've had amazing people like all of you guys here today on the show. We've done so many different topics. We've had so many different conversations. And I'm not saying this to be big-headed. I'm saying this to say that this load has been a little bit heavy for your sister, okay? So we will be ending our first season in August next month. I will be bringing you hopefully 2 more shows. And then I'll close out, because I'm also a mother. I'm a mother of 2 young ones. So I say that too, because I'm out here doing this and being a mama. And that, I know that's some work. But yes, please give me grace. We will have 2 more shows coming in August. One of them will be Ferguson Still Strong, a conversation with the Ferguson residents. Shout out to Ferguson. Y'all know that's where I am. That's where I stay. So we will be doing that, and I'm still working on another episode. I have not yet finalized it, but stay tuned. August is our last segment for this season, but we will be coming back strong in December with some new things. I'm working hard. Y'all know I got the equipment and stuff. I'm putting in some work. So I appreciate everybody that has sat on the Hood Talks podcast platform since December and have shared their experiences, have shared their inspiration, have shared their everything. I appreciate it. And yes, we gonna keep having these conversations, y'all. I'm gonna keep bringing it to you. But also, hey, y'all got some resources for me? Look, sis need a team. Help me out, y'all. Help me out. But other than that, y'all enjoy y'all Saturday. And stay tuned. Keep up with us, thehoodtalks.com. Follow us, Facebook, follow us, Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm trying to work it better. I'm on Twitter too. I'm trying to work it better. But if you really want to know about the Hood Talks podcast, how you can support, please go tune into our website and always shoot me a message. I will definitely let you know. And again, I appreciate everybody that watched, everybody that tuned in, and we are out. Yay! Thank you for tuning in to the Hood Talks podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and also follow us on all our social media.